Hi, this is May.
And I'm Joy.
Welcome to the QWERTY Writing Life podcast, where we have candid chats about our creative lives.
May and I are friends, writers, and creatives who want to share our endeavors out loud.
On this podcast, we're here to encourage each other, and you too,
and share tools we've discovered or made up,
so you can follow your passions with a little support. So grab your tea
or your coffee,
and let's get started. Hello everyone, it's another week.
Hello and welcome.
Tonight we are going to talk about a creative twist on traditions. But before we do that, let's talk about our creative weeks. So Joy, what did you do?
So I have been busy updating my research plan and researching with our upcoming QWERTY retreat in mind. So, yay, so excited. May and I are going to be getting together this weekend away from children and other such distractions so that we can work. Because you know what? It's hard to work when, you're surrounded by the family and all of the responsibilities and the things going on. And so we have been so excited to have this retreat. So, yay!
Yes, absolutely. And last year we weren't able to have one together, so I went to a hotel room. Was it last year that I went to a hotel room on my own?
I think so.
And got food poisoning.
Oh no, that's so
Do you
awful.
remember that?
Oh.
Yeah, it was terrible. I ate some Mexican food that was not friendly.
Well, hopefully this year will be so much better. We've picked a cute little place that I'm so excited about. So,
well, it has to be better because you'll be there, and I'm so
That's
excited
true.
about that.
That's true. So, about your creative week,
I'm doing the same thing. I'm prepping for the retreat. So what I really wanted was to be able to, I had a goal in mind about what I wanted for the end of the retreat. And so I had to make sure that everything that I had so far would be able to serve the goal whenever we went on the retreat. And so I've been prepping for that. I have been getting my creative cap all ready to wear the entire weekend. And I'm so thrilled because I love, love, love having uninterrupted creative time. It's just so fulfilling. And it just makes the whole rest of the year go really well. I think it's a really great end to the year that we've had, and a really great jump-off point for the year that we will have.
I agree. Definitely.
We're going to do episodes, too,
Yes.
while we're on the retreat. So you guys are going to get to be a part of that as well and see some things that you might not have seen in the QWERTY world before. So it'll be fun.
It will be.
So before we go on the retreat, we want to talk about creative twists on traditions. So it is getting really close to that festive time of year where we use tinsel and twinkle lights and we partake in traditions. And as we were discussing traditions a couple of weeks ago, Joy and I, we found ourselves laughing and also groaning over some of our family traditions. So we talked about how easy it is for these traditions to become something that we have to do just because, and we don't even remember why we have to do it, instead of things that we want to do and things that really add a good quality to our life.
So we decided to share these thoughts with you lovely folks, including some of our own traditions, and then discuss some creative ways to keep the spirit in our traditions and the Scrooge out.
Ooh, I like how you said that.
So, May, I have to ask, what are some of the Christmas things, like decorations, foods, things like that you just almost immediately think about when you think of Christmas?
So, I can think of a ton that are like childhood traditional things that aren't necessarily repeated in my adulthood. So I had a grandfather who has passed away now, but I remember that every single holiday season, especially on Thanksgiving and Christmas, he would make peanut brittle. And it would be sitting on like this buffet area, or they would even put it on the coffee table. Sometimes they'd even put it on the coffee table. But it was always there. It was like you walked in the grandparents' house and you saw the peanut brittle. It was first and foremost. And it's something that my grandfather cooked too. So my grandmother, normally she was the cook. She was, she always cooked the Sunday meals and things like that. Every time we went over to her house, it was my grandmother in the kitchen. But this was my grandfather's special thing that he did, and it was peanut brittle. So the thing about the peanut brittle that actually I have like some weird chemical makeup. I don't understand it. But it is what it is, right? This is how I feel about it. So the thing about the peanut brittle that made it even more endearing to me is that it wasn't very good ever.
No.
It could break your molars, man. Like it was so hard. And so sometimes I would even find like the small pieces because you couldn't really handle the big pieces. So I would find like the small pieces and just suck on it like a lozenge. But somehow it is a really good memory of that time when I was a child, and it was just like, here are these people who are old and cute. Like he had the largest nose. But it was adorable. I don't know. But it's every time I see peanut brittle, I cannot not think about my Papa Buford. And so that's one thing. Do you need more?
If you want. Do you have others?
I guess let me do one more. Let me just do one more because I feel like I don't, or maybe two. We'll see. So, okay, one more. So when my mom would pull out her Christmas decorations, because she is a decorating queen. Like, I am not very good at it. But she had like tubs and tubs of Christmas decorations that she would pull out of the attic, and then all of the house all in one day would end up being like this winter Christmassy wonderland, and it would be beautiful and just really get you into the spirit. So one of her decorations that she had, and I wonder if she still has it. I don't know. I wonder if she does. But it was like this plastic, those two sets of plastic things, and they would connect together to make like a 3D four-sided plastic tree with no leaves. It was just branches, and it was clear. And then what you would do is you would buy a bag of gumballs, and they're not even balls. I don't know why they're called gumballs. They have a flat bottom, and they're kind of domed at the top, and they're all different colors and flavors, and they're covered in sugar. So if you don't know what a gumball is, there you go. And then she would pop one of those in all different colors on all of the empty branches that were out there. So you have this clear plastic tree, and then the color pop of these sugary little candy treats. And so every once in a while you can offer your guests a gumball if you would like, and they get to pick it off. And whenever they would go, she would replace the gumballs. So that was part of her traditional thing that she did. And part of my traditional thing that I did when I was younger was sneak out of my room at night and eat all the gumballs.
That sounds like a great plan to me.
They're not even very good. I don't even know like why I would. But again, it's just one of those weird things. And I guess it was like this little defiant streak in me where I would sneak out. I would eat a stupid amount of gumballs, and then I would go back into my room and have like this huge sugar high. And so like when they would come in my room in the morning, I'd be like passed out in a sugar coma in the middle of the floor amongst all of the toys with like sugary goo hanging out of my mouth. Like it was quite a sight, I'm sure. But so she did have to kind of monitor the gumball situation, and after a big laugh, of course, I would be like punished for doing something really adorable, because it's kind of adorable. And so that was maybe part of the tradition as well. But I remember writing an essay on it in like 9th grade or something, and explaining this whole like circular pattern of this tradition, and then what I have made out of that tradition. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's in a scrapbook or something somewhere for Kathy, who is Mom.
Yeah, I think that would be so neat if you could find that essay and read it now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that I dramatized it extensively, because even then I had a flair for story. So it had like plot points that are inside of there that might not have totally equaled the truth, but it made for a really good narrative. I wish I could find it. Maybe I will one day.
Yeah, you'll have to look for it. Ask your mom. I'll ask your mom.
She'd give it to you. She probably had it from me. I think she likes you more than she likes me sometimes.
Oh, I doubt that, but that would be funny. I could get it and then just like read it on an episode. Like, ha ha ha.
That would be funny. That would be funny. Okay, so there's a couple of my traditions. So what about you?
Okay, so like things that I think about, like, decorations or foods or something like that that really stand out. I've got a few that come to mind. The first thing is definitely manger scenes. Like, I love manger scenes. The one that I had growing up, my mom still has, and it's very old. I have no clue where they got this thing. I really haven't seen one like it anywhere else. It's not anything super fancy. It's not anything glittery or anything like that, but it's your little manger, and you've got the livestock, and you've got all the main characters, the shepherds and the wise men, and of course Mary and Joseph and the baby and the angel. And so I love mangers. I love taking the wise men, and you kind of move them a little closer every day leading up to Christmas, and that's a big thing too that we do with our kids. But I don't know, the one that I have now though that we use in my house belonged to my sister, and I remember her using it when her boys were small, and it's very pretty. It's this whole town really, and just each little piece, when you unwrap each piece, you're trying to guess, oh, what is this? What is this? Is it a shepherd? Is it a wise man? Is it the baby Jesus? And then you unwrap and you see what you have. And I don't know. That's just a really fun thing. And then my mom had this little green porcelain tree. Okay, so you had the gumball tree. The thing that always comes to my mind is this ceramic, I guess. I don't know. To be perfectly honest, the thing's not very attractive. But it's just like you always think about it, right? It's like this green tree that has all the little different colored lights sticking off of it. And I have seen these before. So I think they were a big deal probably back in the 70s or something. I don't know when they got it. But I always think about that little tree. And that makes me think about the tree that we have now. So we have a fake tree. And this is the same fake tree that we've had most of our married life. And every year, my daughter complains bitterly about how we have the ugliest, wimpiest tree. And I felt the same way for a long time. And I kept thinking, all right, one of these years after Christmas, when they put them on sale, we have got to get us a nice, pretty tree. Because we have our house isn't very big, but the ceilings in the living room are tall. So, it would look a lot better if it was a little bit bigger. But as I got to thinking about it and we really started to pull the trigger on a new tree, I couldn't do it because this is the tree that we've had for most of our married life and our kids' lives. And so it's special, even if it's a little bit Charlie Brownish.
I feel you about the old tree, man. I'm like, yeah, it's really hard. You attach yourself to those, and it's not about the tree, it's about the feelings that the tree kind of sparks whenever you pull it out of the attic and you put it back together again.
Yeah. And the memories that you had that you made around it. So, and talking about picking out new ornaments each year and stuff like that, what are some of your favorite events of the season?
Ooh, so when I was younger, our church would always have a Christmas program, a Christmas play. And I loved it because they were stories. They weren't just like, the choir gets up there and the orchestra plays this beautiful music, and it's not like a series of songs. It's an actual like musical. So there's drama in it, and there's a storyline, and it's got this cool music in it too. Because I'm a sucker for musicals, guys. Super sucker for musicals. And so, but the storyline is what keeps you, right? So, I grew up watching them. And then at some point in time, I got to like be in it, and it was so much fun. Like I was the soloist, and I was like the main character, and I was like, it was super, super fun. That would be a video. That would be an interesting video for my mom to find and give to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Baby Megan up on a stage in some plaid pants, y'all. Some plaid pants, and I still love plaid pants. I have a pair in my closet right now.
I was about to say, don't you say anything bad about plaid pants now.
No, I love them. I love them. Florals and plaids on my legs. I love it. So there's that. And then something that we do every year now is we look for Christmas lights. Christmas lights make my heart happy. It does make my heart happy. So sometimes we even just ride around in neighborhoods and just look for Christmas lights.
That sounds amazing.
So events, there we go.
Yeah, I think the one event that as a kid I always remember is one of my most special memories with my grandfather, who I miss dearly. But I would sit with him in his recliner, and we would watch The Nutcracker on Ice with Dorothy Hamill. And not long ago, when my grandmother was moved to a nursing home, we were helping my aunt and uncle kind of clear out the house and everything. And I mentioned to my aunt, because she kept asking me, what are some things that you want? Because they were selling the house, and it was a time of transition and everything. And so that was one of the things that I mentioned was, do you happen to know where that VHS tape, those of you my age and older are going to know what I'm talking about. Anyone else, you have no clue. Do you happen to know where that VHS tape is of the Nutcracker on Ice? And she's like, oh, no, I don't know where that is. Well, then, I think it was maybe when we went for my grandmother's funeral a few months later, she handed me a box, and in that box was the Nutcracker on Ice VHS that I used to watch with my grandfather. So, yeah, I'm going to get teary, but I've been able to share that with my kids, and so that's a special thing. And then, as a kid, we always would open one gift on Christmas Eve. It was just something that we did, and we've carried that through to now, and have kind of adapted that, and we've kind of adopted the whole Jallabukaflod thing. And so that's the whole Icelandic tradition of opening a book on Christmas Eve so that you can go to bed with your book and read while you're sipping on hot cocoa or eating some chocolate. And I just adore that.
I do too.
I know. It's like the coolest thing ever. So that,
I might have to adopt that as well.
Oh, there's one other thing too, like an event, if you want to call it that, but something that we always do is reading Luke chapter 2 on Christmas morning before we open the presents. I love that.
Yeah, remembering the reason. I like it a lot. And
it's just a lovely little thing to do, not only because, it's the Word of God and it's the reason, but it makes you slow down and take a pause. Because Christmas mornings can be so hectic, and I don't like the hectic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
And then referencing the movies, like you've got the Nutcracker, which I love that story so much. I have a mutated, or maybe an adapted, that might be a better word, an adapted tradition. So I would help my mom wrap Christmas presents when I got older. and I was home from college or something like that. And so we used to watch White Christmas a whole bunch whenever I was younger, and it kind of became this thing that we did where I would help wrap Christmas presents. She would even put them like in the box and tape them, and I would wrap them. So this was even before college. But we'd be doing it on the, like wrapping the Christmas presents on the floor together, and the whole time we've got White Christmas playing in the background. And we loved White Christmas, and that was a special time, I think, between my mom and I. And now, years later, I am married, and my husband and I wrap Christmas presents together. But instead of watching White Christmas, we have the other ultimate Christmas movie,
Die Hard. Oh, man. I really thought that we were going to have in sync there. Say it at the same time.
We changed last year. I wanted to watch Die Hard because I couldn't, I was like, well, let's just try something new. So I watched Die Hard instead. Lethal Weapon tops Die Hard.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. For, ultimate Christmas wrapping movie choice is Lethal Weapon.
Interesting. All right. So May, I'm wondering, what are some of your traditions that may have lost a little bit of their sparkle over the years? Or maybe some that actually shine just as bright as they did when you were a kid. And maybe there's some whys with those things too.
Okay. So all of the traditions really that I've mentioned already, I've mentioned those because they have like a positive memory reflex with me. So I feel like those are some really good shining moments that I've already done. There is one that kind of comes up to my mind about like childhood situation that I'm like, it's something that really not really bothered me because you can get over it every year. It's not that big of a deal, but it's something that I didn't want to have to do as an adult. So we kind of changed it a little bit in our adulthood because we can make decisions because we're grown-ups. So
it's the one good thing.
It's the one good thing. So when I was a kid, like we would wake up Christmas morning, we would hurriedly rush through our Christmas present openings, take everything back to the room, throw on something that we just gotten in a Christmas present, like new clothes, and we would rush to the car and drive over to my grandparents' house. So the thing about it that wasn't bad is that, being with family is something that is ultimately good. So it's not like, most of the time it's ultimately good.
Depending on your family, you could have that crazy uncle,
Yeah, everybody has a few of those. But what I didn't like about it, and I loved hanging out with my cousins. I have really cool cousins. But what I didn't like about it was that rush and how we didn't have a lot of time with like each other, like my mom and my dad and my brother and I. There was not a lot of time to enjoy the immediate family because we were running over to the extended family. And so that was always kind of a little bit of a regretful thing for me because it was, that connection has always been really important to me. So we changed that. When Britt and I got married, what we ended up doing was alternating holidays. When it was just the two of us, it really wasn't that difficult either because we could do, for example, our immediate family Christmas on Christmas Eve and then just enjoy the rest of that day. So we woke up on Christmas Eve morning and we were able to enjoy each other, have a nice breakfast, be in our pajamas, and open up our little meager presents to each other because we were very poor. And to just enjoy each other for a while. So when Christmas Day rolled around, we would get up and get dressed and go to whatever family member that was. So we just kind of moved Christmas around a little bit, and that was fine. That hectic feeling like you have to hurry up and do this, and then go clean up and put all this stuff up, and then put your best clothes on. Wear that outfit that you just opened up, and take it off the hanger. Make sure you remove the tags. Like all of these things. That feeling, feeling. I hated that. I was fine when I got there, but it was the getting there. And then you're like, I got all of these really neat things, and you kind of want to see what's going on there. And it's sitting in your room, and you can't touch it. But also that was practicing patience. So Maybe that wasn't so bad. So I'm not really sure if I answered your questions, but
No, you definitely did. And, I think that I have something very similar with that. Just, the way that we grow up there might be things that we love about it. There might be things that we want to change. And that ability to just kind of adapt, I love that so much. And that's something that, when I grew up, my father was a preacher. Okay, so being a preacher's family, there are certain expectations during that time of year. It's a very busy time of year. We would have a lot of events, of course, as many churches do. So it was, a lot of the joy was sucked from the season in my family just because of that busyness and, some other things surrounding. And so I always, growing up, I wanted to be able to see that joy, and actually feel that during the Christmas time. So that's one of the things that, we wanted to do when we had kids and all of that. And also, as we have had the kids and we've moved back to where Tony's parents live, because we live in the same town with them, that was a little bit of a change because for a while we were quite a ways away from family. And sometimes they would come visit for the holidays. Sometimes we'd come visit for the holidays, which in itself was difficult because we would be away from our home for that time. But now that we're here, we typically spend the Christmas holiday with his family. And it can be that, like you're saying, like a little bit hectic, like, let's hurry and rush to go over to Nona and Papa's kind of thing. But over the years, I feel like we've all done a really good job. My in-laws and my husband and me, we've all kind of wanted to make it less stressful and less hectic. We've all kind of been of the same mindset when it came to that, which is helpful. So we have looked for ways to just simplify everything. Maybe we don't do a huge feast and the giant spread of food, like that's not really necessary. Maybe instead of, making the banana pancakes that we wanted to do every Christmas morning, that's a little labor intensive, right? So
it's
let's
so
just,
yummy.
yeah, it is. Oh my gosh, I love banana pancakes, but I digress. Maybe we just do a casserole that can be mixed together ahead of time and put into the oven, or something that can go into the crock pot overnight and boom, it's ready. Things like that, things to simplify it, things like reading Luke 2 and just slowing down and, not being in such a rush. Simplifying for me is a huge thing. And also keeping our minds focused on what's most important. And for us, what that has looked like is really putting a much larger emphasis on Advent in the past few years.
Okay, so I have some thoughts on why, because I know that was a part of the question too. So I'm just thinking about the answers just right now, brainstorming. So if this doesn't actually pan out, please forgive me, folks. But I've been thinking about these moments that we've been talking about. And that's really how all they've been, right? They've been moments. There have been some, even the going and looking at Christmas lights wouldn't be such a memorable thing if I wasn't with the people that I was with. I'm just thinking that the things that felt more like duty and have tos and expected tos, those are the things that did not bring joy. The traditions that did not bring joy. But the ones that did bring joy were the things that brought the people who were around me closer together, that were relational based instead of duty based, that were about a quality experience instead of a necessity. So I'm just thinking, I don't know if that's the reason why these things are the things that I love so much, but I do see similarities in the things that I didn't like versus the things that I do like and the memories that make me smile.
That makes perfect sense. And it definitely is. It's the memories. It's those moments, like you said, that stick with us, that come to mind, that are just as vivid in our mind's eye as they were when we were doing those things. So yeah, for sure. So I have a final question for you to kind of bring all this together, because we wanted to pull in the creativity part. How do you think...
Why are we even talking about this, Joy?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe we should have said this at the very beginning. I don't know, but it's too late now, folks. So
if you stuck with us this long.
That's true. That's true. Now you're the people who are going to really get the secret.
There you go.
Because we didn't tell anybody that we were telling a secret at the end of the episode.
Well, we did. We did mention it.
Did we? Did we mention it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I don't remember.
So, how do you think our creativity can help us when it comes to keeping traditions fresh and memories sweet at this time of year?
So I think creativity gives us flexibility. And I think that we've really practiced that, or I know I have really practiced it in taking the traditions that we did from childhood when I didn't have an opportunity to be a part of that decision, and adapting it to something that is something that I do today. So I vividly remember saying, "Hey Brent, let's take this time and wrap these presents together with a movie," and he picked the movie. He picked Lethal Weapon. What creativity does do is allow us to once we've kind of analyzed the thing that we are looking at, it allows us to create alternatives for those things. And also, say you don't like anything and you don't want to remember your childhood, because some of us don't have great childhoods. Some of us have really crappy childhoods, and we want to build something better than what we were given. That's so fine. Your creativity is going to allow you to come up with the little things that you wanted, what you wanted. It can cultivate those things, and you can give that to your family, and you can give your family a foundation that's strong. You can give them the love. You can give them the relationship that you wanted and that you needed at the time. You can be that for your family and your friends, even if you don't have children, even if you don't have a spouse. You can be that for those people, and you can heal through that as well. And I'm not saying live vicariously. Well, you're not really living vicariously because you're the person who's doing it. But and I'm not saying don't try to put band-aids on these emotions that you need to deal with. I'm just saying that sometimes we heal through action. And your creativity gives you a chance to create an action, to make an action, and build upon the things that you need in order to heal. Also, I think that the more things that we do that we enjoy, if we enjoy the kind of things that we do over the holidays, that we end up not having that need for a holiday from your holiday. So if you can cultivate traditions around you, and if you can set some good boundaries, and if you can say no to a couple of things and say yes to the things that really matter, then you're going to come out of the holidays in a better position to continue creating and doing the things that you need to do, or even potentially creating during the holidays, which we have an episode on, guys, with some tips on how to practically do that. So the creativity is a huge part of tradition making, and you don't have to rely on other people to make your traditions for you.
So I love that you said flexibility, and I think that is a huge part. Creativity does allow you to be so flexible, and this is something that I've learned over the years, because when we think of tradition, we think of we have to do the same thing every year because it's tradition, and there are certain things that's kind of how they become, but this really hit home to me this year, actually, because my in-laws are going to spend Christmas with my brother-in-law and his wife in Florida. So when our kids got the word on this, oh, let me just tell you, my daughter just about lost her marbles, and she said, "But it's tradition." Like, it was just this whole huge thing. So as I was thinking through, how this Christmas is going to look a little different for us, and I tend to be a little bit of a creature of habit, I guess, too. I like to know how things are going to be, and I kind of like that predictability. So flexibility isn't always easy for me, But I realized how great this is because this year is going to be different, and that's going to be great. We're going to do things, just the four of us, like we haven't been able to do before. And I think that that's the great thing, to remember that these traditions, they're great and they're wonderful, but they shouldn't become a drudgery. And we don't have to do everything every year.
And to further the creativity tradition metaphor that's happening here, the analogy that we're enjoying together as a group, our creative processes are not something that's going to be stagnant either. We're not going to be able to say 5 years from now that our creative process is the exact same way of our creative traditions, as you will, with your special candle and your special place and your special computer and your special cup. Like all of these things, if those things are not always going to be with you. And at some point in time, your brain might decide that cup is not very inspirational for you anymore. And if you are not using your creativity to be flexible in that process as well, and just trying new things in order to shake that up a little bit and make it more enjoyable for you and more productive and more fulfilling and all of those things, just as these traditions, then you're not using your creativity on your actual process. So
it's true.
I'm feeling like sometimes we forget to bring in our creativity to the practical parts of our lives, like traditions, like process. But these things that feel so left brain and very bullet pointed, sometimes if we bring in our right brain, our creative self into those, then we find better ways and more fulfilling things.
Well, I think that it is time for a challenge.
Cool. Let's do it.
So here is our challenge for you, our QWERTY challenge. How can you put a twist in your traditions this year? What changes and differences are you facing this year? How can you meet these new features with optimism and creativity? How can you make something new out of something old? Or keep longtime traditions fresh and not a drudgery? We challenge you to chat with your friends and family and come up with a creative solution for the season. All right, well, we hope you guys have a fantastic week.
And go make something.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening until the end.
Seriously, you're a trooper.
Do you think QWERTY writing life is the bomb?
May, you just said the bomb.
Don't you censor me.
If you think QWERTY writing life rocks ice for real,
oh my word,
please rate, review, and share us with others.
If you have questions about this week's episode or want to start a conversation, you can reach us by visiting QWERTYWritingLife.podbean.com.
We'll be back next week with more candid chats for you.